What's up, guys? I'm going to be bringing you today a back, trap, and rear delt workout. So today, first day of spring break, I was able to take a little bit of a trip up to Clark Summit to Brown's Gym. I was recommended this gym by a few of my fellow classmates, and I wanted to try it out for myself. And after today, I would definitely highly recommend it. A lot of old school machinery that you will see in this workout that I was able to use and get a very similar output in terms of what I'm trying to do with my exercises that I've been doing recently with my programming that was able to blend really well into today. So just a lat dominant to start, and then the only thing really done for traps and upper back was my usual reverse band deadlifts at the end, and then just going into rear delts with some reverse pec deck flies to finish off. And what I did was just trying out some new things that I haven't been exposed to at gyms, whether it be handles or angles or any kind of machines that I haven't used in the past, as well as keeping my staples in there that I know are effective, but maybe using some minor tweaks. So I just started with a seated cable row with they call the MA grip, I believe maximum activation grip. I'm not 100% sure on what the acronym actually is, but what it is a semi-pronated, semi-supinated grip that's used for pull down movements, and I used it on the cable row movement. I really liked it. Using the middle length one, which allowed myself to be able to wrap my elbow around and get really good lat activation to start the workout. And then I went to an interesting little hammer strength plate loaded iso lateral pull down. So I was able to really get a vertical pull motion that allowed me to drive my elbow down into the ground and be able to have the free motion to be able to go out and again try to wrap around toward my spine and overload the shorten. Then I transitioned to my traditional hammer strength one arm iso rows with a stand back, and I didn't actually see this machine when I first went in the gym, but I did run into it as I got in later, so that is why that exercise is performed third today rather than usually first or second that I've had in my programming recently. And then after that I went into a hammer strength high row with it's the high row where your palms face you rather than palms being neutral or facing each other. You'll see that in the video. You'll definitely recognize the machine. So I did 2 sets there and then finished up the lats with an old school Nautilus pullover machine. 2 sets, supersetting with a chest supported plate loaded row machine to overload the lengthen and shorten ranges respectively. Going for about 8 reps to start on the pullovers, and then more so 10 to 12 plus reps with the row machine. And then just one all-out set and one back-off set on the reverse band deadlifts, of course with 3 warm-up sets to get myself up to my top weight, which today was 365, getting 6, and then backing off to 315 for 8. And then finishing up with rear delts, really trying to get the delt volume in wherever I can. Did 2 sets there with a neurological overload set on my second set. So just giving you guys a little bit of an update what I've been doing recently training-wise and nutrition-wise. Calories still high, still very high actually, about 4,600 a day. Eating about 45% carb, 35% protein, 20% fat. My meals, especially when I am at school, are pretty much the same every day. And now being on spring break, training after meal 1, which is actually really nice for me to be able to train in a particularly high protein, high fat meal pre-workout to make sure my mental focus is 100%. So matching that with my training has still been heavy, still focusing on hard contractions in that 6 to 10 rep range, and when available, taking advantage of a partner or a spotter for assisted reps and forced reps to be able to extend my sets. And then if I'm on my own, or even if I am training with someone, using those NAS sets to be able to extend the set even farther by doing those drop sets. So just giving a little bit of a timeline for how long I may be in this particular phase. I would probably give it at least another month or two. Of course, my calories are going to slowly wean off a little bit more coming toward the summer for reasons not yet to be known, but that 4,600 number will be here to stay for a little bit. After that, it might just be a little bit of a slow taper off as we get more toward April and May, but I'm going to keep my training pretty much consistently. It's going to be in that same rep range with the same principles, but exercise swaps will always be there as I'm able to find new ways to be able to hit the muscle effectively in its weakest ranges, being the shorten and lengthen, as well as be able to target some weak points. So my training, I'm slowly trying to increase the frequency a little bit more so than what I've been doing with the body part split. I experimented with the bro split a little bit for 2 weeks and got to a point where I did kind of like the balance of volume and frequency. But what I'm doing now is I'm able to combine the elements of volume and frequency along with weak point training. So what I'm really trying to do is my arms and delts being my weak points, being able to throw those in on these chest days and back days to be able to fill in the gaps and take a little bit more time off of my strong body parts, my calves, my quads, and my hamstrings, to be able to bring up the weak points and overall bring myself a more balanced physique for the summer and beyond. So I'm just going to get into the back workout for you guys. I'll show you all the execution videos. Leave a comment. Be sure to like the video and subscribe, as well as follow me on social medias. My Instagram handle SmithAustin789, as well as my Facebook. It's just my name, Austin Smithonic. And be sure to direct message me with any questions about my training, or if you guys would like to work with me in the future on training and nutrition. Is very flexible with that. So I'm going to leave you guys on that note and bring the back workout to you. So I took the journey up to Clark Summit, PA today to visit Brown's gym for a back trap and rear delt workout. So I started my first exercise with a seated cable row using the MAG grip, which is a semi-pronate, semi-supinated grip, rather than sticking my hands at a fixed position, either underhand or overhand. This fits the more natural range of the wrists and the elbows well, and I use that for the cable rows. It also allowed me with the width. I believe there were 4 different widths of the MAG handles. This particular one allows, as you can see from this angle, my elbows to travel back and be able to wrap toward my spine to enhance the lat engagement. So it was 2 total sets of the seated cable rows, like traditional 8 to 10 reps, and my second set being a neurological overload set, that being the 3 drops. So you can see a little bit of the handle there, and really allowed me to get the lats firing on the first exercise. What I didn't show before this was just a little bit of priming and activation. I kept with the cable row and the same attachment, and just really worked on getting strong contractions in the shorten and lengthen ranges. So for the shorten range, I would just sit upright and focus on the back end of the motion and getting hard contractions. And for the lengthen, all I would do was lean my torso forward and then focus on initiating with my lats hard out of the beginning. So I supersetted that simply with a 1-arm straight arm pull down using a rope, again thinking to drive my elbow to the ground and be able to wrap it toward my spine. So the 2 sets here with the drops, about 8 reps on the first, and then consequent drop sets, about 4 reps apiece. There's the angle you can actually see there. The only thing that I wish I did have on this was either a pad or a block to sit on and get myself elevated a little bit more and make it just that much easier for myself to create downward intent with my elbows to really squeeze that lower portion of the lat. So this is one thing that I really like to do if I'm ever training in an unfamiliar place, find an exercise that fits you and you know consistently works for you, and find that range of motion, and then make any kind of adjustments to it based on the equipment. This is another one that I was thinking about what ranges and what motions really benefit my lat training. And this is a nice little machine here. It looks like it's like an old school hammer strength plate loaded lat pull down machine. Unilaterally I used here. That handle is free motion, so it's not locked in place when I pull. It will actually rotate farther and closer to my body, but this looks like the best place I found. It's somewhere pretty much in the middle between being locked against and then being pulled totally toward me. So what I did was, again, training now in a vertical pull, trying to keep my section depressed and being able to drive the elbow through the ground, and once I get to the absolute bottom of the movement, being able to try to use that wrapping motion once again to get my elbow closer to my spine. So what I had to do was sit a little bit farther back from where the knee pads were, and also shift my body toward the side that I was pulling with to create as a stable environment as possible to allow myself to maximum output. So I used the same set and rep scheme on these as well. Did a few warm-up sets and then transitioned to 2 all-out working sets, aiming for about 8 reps each hand. This first set here, where I just had 2 plates, I got around 9 reps with a few punches at the end. So on the second set, all I did was just throw 10 on each side, and that got me down to about 8. And what I did was, again, the neurological overload set, going with 3 drops on each side, 3 drops each side, 6 total mini sets within this large set. And this one took a while. It seemed like between changing plates and getting back from the reps, that took a long time. So the efficiency of this one on my part isn't necessarily the most effective. Usually with unilateral movements, I'd like to incorporate more of a rest pause technique, which will allow me to go back and forth quick, especially on something plate loaded versus something that's cable. If it were a cable, I would easily just be able to pull the pin out and then be able to move quickly back into the set as opposed to changing plates. And this motion is similar to any of your other home gyms that would have a lat pull-on machine that's not using the cable resistance. More used some in the past that I've used a Cybex pull-out, anything like that allows the motion to go from side to side rather than going from a singular cable right down and using traditional lat pull-out attachments. I always like the plate loaded. This one really provides a lot of what you can get out of it. If there were another notch on each side, this would probably be a great movement to band. You'll see the plate going up toward the middle, and providing a band on this would probably be able to overload that short range even more, especially like I did this one early in the workout, to be able to really fatigue the lats and get a strong contraction before moving into a little bit more of an output-based exercise. So continuing with the drop set here, I'll just give you guys a little bit of insight into the rest of my workout. So the first 2 exercises, the cable row and this hammer strength pull-down, very lat focused, very contraction focused. Really trying to get myself to find the lats in the shortened position and get that sensation first. And then once I felt confident after the 2 sets of each, I was able to move on more into some more output-based exercises that you'll see down the line. But like I said earlier, when training in a new gym for the first time and not having a particular workout or a particular program set in stone, it's then on you to be able to recognize what planes, what ranges of motion do I train in, and just get back to the basics of thinking what you do with your exercise selection, hitting the shortened range, hitting the lengthened range, as well as being able to accurately place tension on muscles and specific areas of muscle that you want to. So that's what I did when I selected my first two. And this one in particular, when I saw it, I immediately thought of vertical pull, elbow down, pelvis stable, and it really provided great output and a great stable environment for me to be able to get the lats going in the short. And overall, as I look forward again with this back workout, mostly lat focused, pretty consistent with my rep ranges, as you'll notice throughout with these videos, aiming about 8 traditional hypertrophy rep range, keeping my tempos pretty slow, but at the same time not afraid to go heavy, especially on a second set when I know that I'm going to have drop sets after, so then I could allow myself to get some heavy weight in, then follow it up with some reps. And then the only thing at the end was a superset that we'll get into a little bit later. Still aiming for about 8 to start, and then getting some reps, and then transitioning more toward my deadlifts and my rear delt work, trying to get my frequency up as well. And because I feel like I'm at the point where my execution and my loading has been pretty well accurately placed, so I'm noticing that I'm using fewer and fewer sets because I'm getting more out of my sets and more out of each rep. So in turn that adds up, and really trying to eliminate that junk volume, as people like to call it, where you're simply just trying to do sets upon sets to try to get the pump and really just feel like you're training more but not necessarily training as efficient. Just finishing my last drop on my right hand here, and then I was moving along to the hammer strength one arm isolateral row. This form of the hammer strength iso row I particularly like, as opposed to the other one might just be an older model of the machine that only has one handle running completely vertical. This one I allow myself to stand back a little bit farther with my toes on the bar and my heels all the way back on the ground behind the machine, bracing with my opposite hand. This is a staple. You guys have seen me do this multiple times, but this is one I really like to keep in. Actually, to be honest, touring around the gym, I didn't even see this machine for a while until I was a few exercises in. If I had seen this earlier, I probably would have thrown this in either first or second, because that's been pretty consistent as to what I've been doing with my programming lately. Usually doing this followed by a cable row or vice versa. Of course, with some activations and band work before that. But on this particular machine, I really like being able to drive that elbow down, get those weights to the peak, not too far back though as to where the weights would be on the downswing and then tension would be lost. So that's all personal, all depending on each person's limb lengths and where they need to stand on the machine to get the maximum output and the maximum tension. So it was 2 sets of these, no intensity principles. I did not see the first 2 exercises, so I gave myself a little bit of break with this one. Again, maybe thinking a little bit more this time, but knowing that it's an isolateral, unilateral movement, that the efficiency of taking plates off and doing such a long, drawn-out drop set for each arm would probably be a lot less efficient than picking something that was cable or pin loaded, that I'm able to change it much more quickly and allow those drop sets to go much smoother. So this is again one of my last exercises for the lats. We have another low lat movement, another hammer strength row coming up next. Did not even get to touch a barbell or a dumbbell today other than for deadlifts. And that just came down to me seeing the machines that were available and knowing my ranges that I want to train in and being able to fit that to a new gym and being able to test things out while I'm there, because the foundational barbell and dumbbell movements don't particularly change where I perform. So moving on to a traditional hammer strength high row here. Another one of my favorite movements, especially this being the hammer strength row, where the palms will face you in the machine rather than the palms being neutral or facing each other. Always get great low lat output on this one, and again, a personal thing depending on body structure and limb length. The seat height as well as the knee pad height, being I'm really trying to ensure my body is as stable as possible by pushing my chest into the pad, but also making sure that I'm really exaggerating the shortened position, allowing those plates to get as high as possible, like I did, same thing with the hammer strength iso row, but not allowing them to get past the top and allow gravity to take over again and have them downward where the tension is going to be off. So I found a good position for the seat and keeping my legs back, driving my chest into the pad. Really found myself a good position for these as well. This machine actually did have some hooks at the bottom that could possibly be used for band, and in the future I may experiment more with that, especially if I need something exclusively in the short range to try to exhaust my lower lat, especially early on in the workout or possibly as a finish. So 2 sets here as well, and same principle. I went with the neurological overload set on the second set, doing it bilaterally, much quicker, getting right in, ripping those plates off, changing it quickly, getting my reps, going right back onto the machine, and just being able to try to burn out as much as possible. So this was the last singular would describe as heavy or overload based movement for lats. Following my drop set on here, that is where I got into the supersets, or the one superset in particular, and really taking advantage, you'll see, of some old school machinery that I found to be able to get the last bit out of my lats in various ranges. So playing around with my split, this is pretty much a little bit more volume than I wanted to get into today for lats, but I was perfectly okay with it. It's not that it was junk volume. Every set was perfectly executed, in my opinion. Everything went well, my loading was there. Especially being in a new gym and knowing that it might take a few more warm-up sets to be acquainted with the weight and the machines and all your positioning. That's to be expected, but once you get it and get into the swing of things, you get into those working sets, and then that's really where the brain starts to turn off, and then you become familiar with what you're doing, and then you just worry about output at that point. So this is my last drop here, and then here it is. I find a superset for lats, and this is about as old school as it gets. Bringing back shades of the 90s, Dorian Yates in the dungeon with this one, the Pullover Machine. Chain resistance, you can see that. So what I'm doing on this one is really overloading the lengthen all the way back there. So what I'm doing is I'm stopping before I get all the way down, because once I get past pretty much my rib cage, tension is going to be significantly decreased. So when I plan this superset together, I have this exercise program in as a very lengthened overload movement, and then the exercise you'll see next, a shortened overload. So last little bit of pop at each end of the strength curve for the lats. And this is just 2 sets. I went a little bit heavier on the pullover machine, more toward 8 reps, and then utilized my second exercise, which will be shown here, and will be shown here from a poor angle on my part. But you can see that it's a row machine, again plate loaded, with individual handles and chest pads. So what I did was use this, only one plate on each side, doing the pullovers, aiming for a higher rep range. I believe it was about 12 reps per set as the second exercise of each superset. This is a real good one to overload and shorten. Being able to wrap the elbow around and just get the last bit of output from the shortened range. And then I just went back for a second set of pullover and row machine, and that would be it for my lat training for the day. And as I went really with the lat workout, I got to the point of doing deadlifts and wanting to add a little more trap volume, maybe some shrug work for some trap height. I just didn't use that. I went with the deadlifts and was quite fatigued after 2 working sets of those. So the shrugs and anything of that for the upper traps will have to be put on hold for later in the week. But still doing the deadlifts and doing the reverse bands in particular, being able to overload that top half of the deadlift and the traps. Finishing up here on pullovers for my second set. I extended as far as I could with some partial reps. Again, being able just to stretch those lats fully and lengthen, and then returning back to the row machine, creating my stable environment and being able to get the tempo a little bit and trying to get a little bit of lactic acid buildup and more metabolic style training in this superset, as opposed to the heavy hypertrophy rep ranges that I was using early on in the workout with most of my hammer strength rowing or pull down movements. So after this, I went right to deadlifts with reverse band. I only have my 2 working sets shown. Didn't record the warm-up sets, but I just simply went 135, 225, 315. Felt good, and was able to hop right into my top set here of 365 for 2 reps. Felt pretty good. Weights feeling kind of heavy, but I made sure to slow down my eccentric of the deadlift a little bit more than I have been recently. I've been a little bit infatuated with just pulling the weight. Not necessarily a bad thing, still my form point, but once I get to the lock, hold that for about a second, and then slowly begin to bring my hips into my knees, and then finish off my sets. And all I did was 1 all-out set, as you just saw, with 365, getting 6, and then a decently short rest down to 315. I believe it was about 8 reps. Started touch and go as quick as I could, and then once the fatigue started to set in, just got some singles with a little pause off of the floor after that. I really did like these squat racks at Brown's. You can see the pegs on the outside when I move the plates up. You can see that they look like they would be great for some banded movements as well to overload the top. And I would definitely like to dive into that in the future. And then, as boring as ever, some rear delts to finish. Just simply doing 2 sets on the reverse pec deck. You guys saw in my Q&A video when I discussed rear delt training and how some people don't really feel rear delts and how you can bring them up as a lagging body part. This is a perfect view of what you need to do execution-wise. You'll see my elbows lining directly up with the handles and directly up with my rear delt. It should be a completely straight line from machine to elbow to rear delt. Not allowing myself to dip, and you'll see me creating a stable environment here. Keeping the best way I found it to be is keep 1 foot locked, 1 foot back, and my chest against the pad, kind of like I'm lunging. And you'll see this when I do my 2 sets. I already showed the first set, and the second set being a neurological overload set. What I'll simply do is after the first or second drop, depending, not very particular about that, I'm just in this position and then I'll just swap my feet. I have my left foot forward to start, and then I'll swap it up and just put my right foot forward, keeping myself even and keeping myself braced for the movement. So that is what I finished with today. So some back, some traps, and some rear delts. And I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And of course, let me know some ideas for future videos.